So, what happens when one of the biggest tech companies on the planet bets the house on a virtual dream and loses big time? Well, this is a story of Meta's very expensive midlife crisis and its desperate scramble to figure out what comes next. And it really all starts with this number: $73 billion. I mean, that is a staggering amount of money. It's how much Meta has lost on its biggest bet. And, a number like that, it changes everything for the company we all used to just call Facebook. We're talking, of course, about the price of the metaverse, that huge, ambitious vision of a virtual world where we could all work and play and socialize. It was such a big deal, they literally renamed the entire company for it. But, well, the tech was clunky, people just weren't showing up, and now that whole future is getting a complete and total rewrite. Okay, so you've just blown over $73 billion on a single project. What happens next? Well, the first, really painful dose of reality is figuring out who pays the price. And you know who the first casualties were? The very people hired to build the metaverse in the first place. Yep, Meta started laying them off. And look, this wasn't just about cutting costs, not at all. This was a massive signal that the company was backing away from its grand vision. The dream was officially on hold. With the metaverse dream basically dead in the water, Meta desperately needed a new direction, a new North Star. And for them, that star is artificial intelligence. It's a huge pivot, right? They're moving away from building these theoretical new worlds and instead focusing on making their existing apps smarter. It's just a much safer, more practical bet. And you can really see the difference here. The metaverse dream, it was pretty abstract. All about creating these brand new experiences from scratch. But this new AI reality, it's way more tangible. It's stuff that's being plugged directly into the apps that, let's be honest, we're already using every single day. And they are moving fast. This AI strategy is popping up in every corner of the user experience, for better or for worse. Meta AI is now asking to scan your entire camera roll, not just the pictures you've already posted. The job board is making a comeback, right into a world where AI is shaking up the whole job market. And of course, the platform is just flooded with ads for AI tools, some of which, unfortunately, turn out to be malware. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. So while all the engineers were off chasing the shiny new thing in AI, there was this whole other team tasked with a totally different and really core problem. A lot of users just felt, well, alienated. They felt like the original Facebook they signed up for was gone, replaced by this endless fire hose of content instead of updates from their actual friends. And if you look at the history, it makes sense. For more than a decade, the Facebook feed was on this journey away from your friends and towards these super complex algorithms. Their only job was to keep you scrolling, usually by showing you viral stuff from people you don't even know. But now, we're seeing this massive U-turn back to its original promise. They're actually adding a dedicated tab just for your friends' stuff. And get this, in another totally surprising move back to its roots, Meta brought back one of its oldest and, let's be honest, kind of silliest features, the poke. And the wild part? It actually worked. Usage shot through the roof, especially with younger Gen Z users. Who knew, right? Maybe a little old-school simplicity was exactly what everyone was missing. So just to paint the full picture here, while they're trying to pull off this massive internal reinvention, the company is also still fighting these huge, long-running battles in courtrooms and with government regulators. The pressure from the outside, it just never, ever stops. And they did score a big win. In November 2025, a court actually rejected the Federal Trade Commission's attempt to break up the company, ruling that it wasn't a social media monopoly. You can imagine that was a huge sigh of relief inside the company. But, and this is a big but, even while ruling in their favor, the judge's opinion had this really sharp critique. He basically said, okay, maybe you're not an illegal monopoly, but what you've done to your platforms, it's not exactly something to be proud of. So yeah, a win with a pretty big asterisk next to it. And the legal bills just keep piling up. Take this number, for example. That's a massive class action settlement Meta had to pay out to users over privacy problems, including all that stuff from the Cambridge Analytica scandal. I mean, that is a huge number no matter how you slice it. But here's the kicker. When you break it all down, the payout for each person was only about $38. So while the total is gigantic, that little number really shows you the mind-boggling scale of just how many people were involved in this thing. It's like a game of whack-a-mole, really. The pressure is just constant. You've got state attorneys general demanding they do something about all the account takeovers. Then you've got Mark Zuckerberg having to go testify before Congress. Again, these legal and regulatory fights just drain time, money, and energy. So you add it all up, all these legal costs plus the billions lost on the metaverse, it puts a massive squeeze on the company's finances. And that pressure has sent Meta on this really urgent hunt for new ways to make money, and fast. And they're getting pretty creative. For one, they're testing ads directly inside your notification list, which is, a pretty personal space to see an ad. And second, they're actively teaching businesses how to get around Apple's App Store fees when they buy ads. That's a clear shot at trying to keep more of the money for themselves. And on the other side of the coin, they're cutting costs. Here's a perfect example. They used to store your live videos forever. Not anymore. Now they're gone after 30 days. It might seem like a small thing, but it's a really clear sign of this new, much tighter financial discipline that's taking over the whole company. So let's just recap what Meta's new reality looks like. First, that grand metaverse vision is on ice, replaced by a much more practical, all-in bet on AI. Second, the core Facebook experience is getting simplified, going back to basics to try and win people back. And finally, the day-to-day business is now defined by this scrappy hunt for cash, all while fighting off one legal battle after another. Which really just leaves us with one last question. You've seen the massive changes, the huge missteps, and now this totally new direction. So as Meta desperately tries to reshape itself, I guess the question for you is, are you still along for the ride?